Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today y Mañana. I'm Alex. This is Xavier. We're really excited to have you joining us this morning on as I said before, and I will say again, on a perfect morning for a café con leche. Just settle down, get nice and cozy, and watch some Today y Mañana as we interview both beautiful entrepreneurs that are here in our community, as well as fantastic professionals from just our
I'm looking
Latino
forward to this
community
very
here
much.
in Charlottesville and Albemarle. So I know you're looking very much forward to it.
So
am I. We're really grateful to be here on the I Love CVille Network set. Judah behind the camera, making us all look good. I mean, you and me especially, but, making us all look good. And just really enjoying, of course, always appreciative of our partners. We're just presented by Emergent Financial Services, and we are powered, as always, by Vitae Spirits, by Castle Hill Cider, who's having, keep your calendars marked, May 15th.
May 15th. That's
Sunday,
right.
May 15th, Castle Hill Cider. There's a big event going on there, so details forthcoming.
More details to come.
Knowing the amazing folks at Castle Hill, it's going to be exciting. So I don't even need the details in my okay. Circle that date.
Circle that date.
Circle that
That's
date.
right.
Details are irrelevant. Circle that date. And we're always also partnering with the Gym CVille, with Aqua CVille Hand Car Wash, with our friend Midel from Sirius Craddock Insurance, Midel Corradin, great friend of the program, and of course, amigo del programa, Johan Torres from GBS Financial Services. And we are always with Forward Adelante, the premier Latino networking group here in Charlottesville, Virginia.
And I like to just shout out because, yesterday we had the Today Mañana event at Vitae Spirits, and I just want to thank everybody that showed up. Thank you so much to making that event successful. And it was just a lot of fun to see a lot of people again, and not in the show, but in person, shaking hands and having some good spirits. And thank you for sombreros. Those empanadas and taquitos were absolutely delicious. There weren't any left, unfortunately, because I was looking forward to bringing some for breakfast or lunch. So I was like, wait a minute, where did they go? So it was a great event, and so I just want to make sure I thank everybody for attending. It was just a lot of fun. It really was.
Just love continuing to stay in touch with all the amazing professionals and entrepreneurs that we have on that we're lucky enough to have on Today Mañana and get to interview and know.
Yeah.
And we got 4 more today.
That's right, exactly.
Which we're very excited about. So I mean, I don't know about you. I say we get right to it.
Absolutely. Why wait?
Why wait?
Time's a wasting, they say.
So we're really excited to welcome to the show Laurel and Kristen. They are the owners of Heyday Antiques and Vintage. Laurel, Kristen, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for having us. We're happy to be here.
No, we're really excited to have you here. So, I mean, I always have people start off by tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you got interested in antiques and vintage and started Heyday.
It's kind of an interesting story. So I've been in the business for about 10 years, and we started. Well, I started up in Rockersville with the Country Store Antique Mall, selling all different types of antiques with a whole bunch of other dealers, and Laurel is one of those dealers. And the Country Store in Rockersville is no longer. Because VDOT took that property from us by eminent domain. And we were forced to move, which turned out to be not so bad because we landed here in Charlottesville. And we absolutely love being here. The community has been wonderful to us. And we rebranded along the way. So now we are known as Heyday Antiques and Vintage in McIntyre Plaza.
McIntyre Plaza. Okay.
Yeah. No, great location.
Exactly where that
People
is,
can easily find you there.
Yes, absolutely. 1747 Allied Street.
1747 Allied Street.
Yeah, we're hoping that with the other thrift stores and antique stores there, that we've created a little, vintage alley, so to speak.
Absolutely. So what are some of the things that, because I guess you have it sort of in mind, and probably our viewers have in mind, there's a lot of different types of antique stores. Some people might have in mind like those really fancy places with a lot of things. What's the experience of Heyday Antiques and Vintage, and what can people expect when they walk in the door?
So I think like traditionally when you think of an antique store, yes, you think of the very high-end antiques that you would find at like auctions or things like that. We have a little bit of that, but we definitely want to be more accessible to everyone. Definitely more quality than like a thrift store that you would just donate things to. The thing that sets us apart from other antique stores in Charlottesville is that we have a network of vendors and dealers that rent their own spaces within the store. So they have their own little stores within our space. And so everything is very carefully curated and just sourced with a lot of time and energy. And so it just sort of comes through. When you go in there, you can tell that a lot of work has been put into getting these things ready for sale.
Our customers tell us that's the beauty of our store, is as you walk through, you can kind of feel how the vibe changes from space to space. You can tell that there are different dealers curating each space.
Okay.
So it's really fun. Customers really have enjoyed walking through our store and shopping with us so far. We've been, actually, we celebrated 6 months here in Charlottesville yesterday.
Oh, terrific.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So how many vendors would you say are part of, Heyday at this point or in the store?
We have 17 right now. As
Wow.
of April 1st, we will be bringing on one more.
Okay.
Savannah Street Antiques, Maria, is joining us, and she will be with us as of April. So, yeah, we have all kinds of just really fun, interesting personalities with us.
So I've always been curious. So, I kind of walk into, like I said, many antique stores in my life. And I always wondered, so how do you go about, finding these antiques? I mean, do you yourselves travel to different places? Do you attend, garage sales or estate sales? Or how does that work?
Sort of all of the above.
All of the above.
I go to estate sales, online auctions, yard sales sometimes, do a lot of traveling. My family lives in California, so
Wow,
last
okay.
fall I flew out to California, rented a truck, and brought a bunch of stuff back with me. So, and also different areas outside of Charlottesville. It's great to source things from outside of Charlottesville because there are different styles
Right.
out there. And Kristen can tell you about how she gets her stuff, but it's just that's the big draw is having things from outside our sphere here.
Okay.
We do love to support other local businesses, and so many of us will source locally when we can. But I think it is a lot of fun to bring in new and intriguing items from outside the area. So I grew up in New England, and I go back there many times a year. So I will source all up and down the northeastern coastline. And like Laurel said, many of us do travel. I do travel internationally for another part-time gig. And so a lot of the items that we do have in our store are globally inspired and globally sourced. So it's just, it's a nice mix.
So when do you have like an idea as to what it is you'd like to bring to the booth or to the area, or when you are traveling, you see something that really catches your eye and you say, that looks good, it's good value, and then buy it? Is that how it works, or?
I think each individual dealer knows something when they see it.
Okay.
It hits you, kind of like our shoppers when they're in our store. Like they know and they buy because it kind of is a feeling, or it inspires something inside of them that reminds them of when they were young. I mean, remember the majority of our items are, antique and vintage. So, we hear customers all the time saying, "Oh my God, that reminds me of when I was a kid," or that my grandmother had that in her home. And so we source our items the same way customers buy from us. So.
Interesting.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah. I mean,
similar. It makes sense.
Yeah,
true.
whatever really sparks joy when we see it, or whatever kind of like makes us feel really good inside.
I mean, I see that myself. Sometimes I'm walking around and I look at something and I say, wow, I used to see that. As a little kid, I used to have that. I should have kept it.
That's right.
Could be worth a lot of money, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like all the toy trucks that I used to have, which were metal back then, right? And obviously I moved, and my parents probably said, "This is now garbage. Get rid of it." And it's like now I go around, it's like
All these years later.
$200 for a
That's right.
truck. It's like
That and the baseball cards.
Yes,
Let's go there. Let's
Old
go there.
quilts are really big right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
all kinds.
And we
of
follow
just-
the trends too,
Yeah.
decorating trends, interior design trends. And it's actually, moving to Charlottesville has caused us to sort of switch our demographic a little bit too, because it is different. buying population, a lot younger, I'd say, than Greene County. But yeah, we've noticed that there has been a big difference between here and Ruckersville, and so we've had to work a little harder to see what is selling here.
We're still getting to know the community a little bit, but so far we've had a lot of success. I give our dealers a lot of credit. They're a real talented group of individuals, and they pick up very quickly on how to do their job.
What people are looking for and,
exactly.
and what's turning over, I guess.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, if you haven't experienced the store, it's,
you should definitely come.
Yeah, you guys got to come in and say.
It's
a lot of fun.
A definite place to bring one person in particular.
No, actually, I mean, I think we've actually been there now that I
you've
think.
been? Okay.
Sure, because I remember, my wife Jan, she was talking. She mentioned because she used to go to Ruckersville a lot, and it closed. And she said they moved, moved here. And I said, I don't know anything about it. So one day, I think it was, I don't know if it was on a Sunday or I think it was on a Sunday after church. We passed by and we walked around the whole store, and of course there was a whole bunch of little Christmas things here and there which you bought, and so.
Nice.
But yeah, so I know exactly where it is now. And, once all of a sudden it's been clicking. I said, I know. I remember walking through the store. It's got, you go to the right, you walk in and you go to the right, and there's more in the back.
Yes,
yeah.
It's much bigger
That's
than it
right.
looks from the
Exactly,
outside.
exactly.
The store frontage looks like it would be a fairly small space, but it busts open in the back, and we've got about 5,000 square feet. So it's a really nice size.
Yeah, no, it is. It does. It opens up, and you're right. I mean, it's so you walk around, and in every single area is unique. You walk around and it's so, I mean, at first you think, oh, this is just somebody who owns this. But as you walk around, you start feeling it's like, nah, these are different sellers, because all of a sudden you see something completely different from a different genre or a different time area. I mean, it's just, it's a very nice place. Yeah.
Thank you.
You can spend a few hours in there, no doubt about it.
Thank you. Feel free anytime, guys.
I feel that's the greatest compliment, right, for a vintage and antique store. Is
Oh,
that
sure.
You could spend hours
Of
in there.
course,
Yeah.
right.
No, it's true. I mean, it's. Listen, I know Jan loves antiques, but when I walk around, sometimes I do enjoy it also, because I see things and it's like, sometimes I say, what is this? And so you read and go, I had no idea. And
Oh, yeah, we have a lot of
it's-
that. Just very unique, interesting, one-of-a-kind
Exactly,
pieces.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, and it is important to come back, on a regular basis, because our inventory changes very frequently. It's like the weekend hits and good portion of things are gone, and we've had a lot of people come in, the day after they see something on Instagram, and they'll ask about it. I'm like, oh, sorry, that's gone. So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
things move pretty quickly.
Always regret the antiques or vintage you do not buy, because it will not be there again. So-
Right.
I know that. I know that by heart.
Absolutely.
I know that
So I'm curious, as two individuals who don't just curate your own and have that sort of that dealer experience, but now are managing like a whole store of them. What are some of the challenges, opportunities of being an entrepreneur in that space where you've got dealers that you're working with? So you're obviously involved in inventory, but also in a different perspective, you're sort of managing people with their own styles and techniques.
It's been quite an experience. I think both Laurel and I didn't realize how much work it would be to not only be a dealer, but also to help run the store. But from my perspective, it's just a whole lot of fun. The personalities that we have, the people that we work with every day, it's just such an inspiring group of all ages, men and women. I personally have really enjoyed it. I spend a lot of time doing the social media piece of it, and working with the dealers, and then Laurel.
I do a lot of the back end bookkeeping and such.
I can sympathize with that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a surprise to us, a few months into it, just how much work it was going to be, because we don't, it's not a typical, we're owning this, we're running this business, and we get to reap all the rewards of this, financially. We just stepped in to sort of keep everyone together from Ruckersville. We thought that was very important. And
Right, absolutely.
so it's sort of like a volunteer job in that respect, but it is a lot more work than we originally thought it would be, but it's been very rewarding in other ways. So yeah, we're very happy that we did it. And
I think what people should realize as customers of our store is that when they shop at Heyday, they're actually shopping among 18 individual business owners. They're supporting 18 small businesses.
Right.
Heyday is not making the money here. It's the individual dealers within our store that are making the sales, making the money.
Which is really such a beautiful thing, because you're there. Yes, you're supporting, a collection of small business
Correct.
owners, but you're supporting, like you said, 18
Right.
individual small businesses that now
Correct.
keep growing,
That's
keep
right.
thriving, and keep succeeding in our area.
We like to call it a multi-vendor marketplace.
A multi-vendor marketplace.
So basically, when you were in Ruckersville, you both were vendors, right?
Correct.
And then when that went, obviously, when VDOT took over that, you decided to create your own
We did.
place where other vendors could come in.
Well, there
Yeah,
were
that's-
enough of us that wanted to stay
Okay.
together, but we didn't really have any kind of business plan. So someone needed to actually sign a lease in a new location and, do everything that we would need to do to make us more visible in a new location. And
Okay.
we had to focus on marketing because we don't have the visibility that we did in our old store. We're kind of set a little bit farther back in McIntyre Plaza. So all of that has added up to what Laurel and I do. And we're happy to be doing it. It's been a lot of fun, great experience.
How did you come up with I like the name Heyday. I'm just curious who came up with that, or how'd you come up with it?
It's a process of elimination.
yes, we probably had dozens. Of
We did have dozens
possibilities.
and we asked all of our dealers to kind of kick in some ideas.
Yes.
But when you have a group that size, it's tough to make decisions.
Oh, yes.
Really hard.
So it was actually sort of a blessing that Kristen and I were like the ultimate decision makers, because
Yeah,
I
a process
think-
of elimination.
yeah,
kind of
we
narrowed
I
it down.
think it came up, and then Kristen was like, well, we should really consider this, and I said, that sounds like a perfect one, because it's short, sweet, simple.
And if you visit our store, you'll see we have a massive definition straight out of the dictionary of what Heyday means. Back in the day when it was a period of time when something was in its glory. So
Yeah.
There you are.
So, yep.
Exactly. No, it's a great name. It
It
really
is.
Thank
No, it's
you.
easy to
So
remember.
that's what I was wondering.
thank you.
Easy. Yeah, we got a couple of shout outs here. We got thanks to Michael Guthrie watching the show today, Elizabeth Miller watching the show today, Johnny Ornelas, amigo del programa, sharing the show today. Thank you, Johnny. Michael Hopkins giving you guys some props. He says, don't sleep on Laurel Stills in the hair professional realm either. Thanks for watching the show today, Michael.
So yeah, that's my day job. A lot of the vendors, some are retired. Some, this is their sole source of income. Some, this is just a side gig. And for me, it started out as a side gig. It still pretty much is. But yeah, I'm a hairstylist by trade. I work on the downtown mall. And so yeah, that was Michael.
Yeah, Michael, he says he's up here on the second floor. He's probably right above us. And he knows that part. Oh, fantastic. I'm curious, so I know you you talked a little bit about the vendors curate their collections. How do have you brought in any new vendors yet since when you moved from Ruckersville here? And what's that process like to finding like a new vendor to bring in?
This is the first multi-vendor marketplace that Charlottesville has had in a long time as far as antiques and vintage go. And it really needed something like this. We have a waiting list of almost
Wow.
30 vendors.
Wow.
Yeah, so we had enough space to bring in a handful, maybe 5 or 6 new antique dealers with us. Another one is joining April 1st, but we do have a long waiting list. And so as people decide to leave, or if we have an opportunity to expand at some point, we will be able to bring in more dealers as well.
Heyday numeral 2.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's right.
It's got to happen.
Yeah, it's when someone does express interest in joining us, we let them know that there is a wait list, but we do, ask to look at what their style is, what their inventory is, and that gives us an idea if they're a good fit.
Do you look for, I'm guessing, things that are similar vibe, but with certain differences to give some different styles
Absolutely.
to the store?
Right, we wouldn't want to have a lot of overlap, because then that wouldn't be fair to the vendors that are already
Sure.
there. And we do want to, promote that everything there is one of a kind. And we do want to, maximize our space and getting as many different things in there as possible. But there are plenty of different styles out there. I mean, there's no shortage of styles.
That's what I was thinking, just thinking of antique stores that I have been to. It's amazing. You go from shop to shop, you say, this person's style is completely different
Right, exactly.
from the previous ones. And they may have one or two items that is, okay, it's the same item, but sometimes you'll even see the same thing, but it'll be presented completely differently. Because I remember seeing like those old brass candlesticks are very much all over the place now. But like one place will just have like 3 of them together, and in another one, someone will have put candles in them, and another one they'll be like in a display. And I'll say, "Wait a second, that's a brass candlestick right there? It doesn't look like it, but that's a brass candlestick," because everyone sees it differently.
And that's what's great too about being a reseller, is that everyone has a different reason why they're doing it and a different approach to doing it. I know that for me, my big thing is reusing, recycling, and repurposing. So I love it when someone is buying something at the store and they tell me that they're going to do something totally different than its intended purpose, because the original purpose was, it's outdated or whatever.
Right.
So I just love hearing what people are going to do with the things that they're buying and why they're buying them. And it's just great to meet people that way and to just know what different intentions people have.
That is amazing. Yeah, I'm probably the most boring person that way though, because since I usually get books, and I use them for the original. I read them.
Well, not a lot of people do different things with the books.
Well, there are some books that you bought that you can't even open those pages. I mean,
Yeah,
if you try to read that book, it falls apart.
It's true. Some it's just
It is.
you put it on the
Sometimes that's
bookshelf
right.
and you're like, this just gives a lot of style.
Exactly. There you are.
We do have a dealer at our store, Joan Payne Courier, who deals in antique books, and she's got an amazing collection.
Yeah,
so if
she
you're ever
does.
looking
I'm
for,
gonna have to go buy.
yes, yeah, we have just a wonderful collection or a wonderful group, from mid-century modern to global inspired to farmhouse, European antiques, just all kinds of really great
That's the
styles.
beauty about antiques. When you think about it, as time passes, right? You just really create more and more antiques, right? Because I mean, if you lived in the 60s and 70s, you sit there and go, it's just 60s and 70s. But now you walk around, there's just a lot of items from the 60s and 70s and 50s, right? And it's like,
Absolutely.
wow. I mean, you just, like I say, you just remember them, right? It's like,
It's like a walk down memory lane.
Exactly, absolutely.
Absolutely.
It really
For sure,
is.
no. And I mean, the interesting thing about vintage and antique is that as time passes, things which were not vintage now become vintage. Like, there will be a day
Exactly.
when we'll
That's
look
right.
back and say the 1990s was 30 years ago.
I think there's some-
1990s are vintage
There's
now.
some people think that 1990.
So I sit there like, I was born 92, like, how I grew up is something to now vintage.
Just don't throw them out.
That's the thing. Just gotta keep
Someday you can have a
everything.
little booth of your own.
You never know. You never know. So I mean, one that I always like to ask: where can people find you? Get connected online, social media.
We are physically located at 1747 Allied Street in McIntyre Plaza, in the cul-de-sac on Allied. And our Instagram is at Heyday CVille. We are very active on Instagram. We're constantly posting merchandise, new old items that are in the store.
And also our website, heydaycville.com.
Oh, so easy to
And Facebook.
remember.
Yeah.
And Facebook.
And
Facebook.
Facebook, we're on Facebook as well.
Heyday Antiques and Vintage.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can pretty much find us anywhere.
Oh yeah, not hard to find. And I know I've been to your website. Realtor that easily has the links to Facebook
Yes.
and Instagram. So if you go for Heyday Antiques and heydaycville.com, you will find both the Instagram and before we actually have an audience question before I let you both go. This is Kevin Higgins. Thanks for watching the show today. Kevin says, was there this is like a little personal fun thing to end on. Was there ever an item you sold that you instantly regretted not keeping for yourself?
Oh, I think we probably have all had those moments, yes.
Too many, maybe?
Oh, probably too many.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head, but when I go shopping, I pretty much am shopping for myself. Like, I'm not going to buy something unless
We buy
I would
something we like.
keep it for myself.
Right.
So a lot of times, when I buy things, I'm torn between keeping it for myself and selling it. And
But
then
everything has its price. So if
Yes.
we have a customer who really wants
Yes,
something that we don't
that's
want to
true.
sell, we'll have a conversation.
Yes. Yeah.
That is true. That's true. That's good business people there. That's the entrepreneurship in you both is right there.
Business,
right?
that's right. That's
So I love this if the price is right.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's enjoyable. Thank you.
HeydayCVille.com, Heyday CVille on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah, go visit. It's a really
visit,
nice
for
place.
sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for having us,
much.
guys. This was a lot of
Pleasure to
fun.
have you on.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we're going to do our swaparoo here from two fantastic
It's funny that they were
entrepreneurs.
saying that, right? Because, Kevin asked that question, but, you don't know how many times Jan goes shopping, right? And like during Christmas, and she buys things for somebody else, right? It's like, I'm going to buy this for, her cousin or her aunt or, or somebody else. And then she takes it home, and I don't know how many times it's like, she puts it something, and she goes, oh no, I got to keep this.
Keep it. I know.
'Cause, that's what happens. You buy things you like, right? And then eventually, you fall in love with it and say, I can't part with this. It's
Exactly.
just too nice,
That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah,
I know, I've seen it. Our house is full of things that were not originally intended for it, but which you sit there and say, she cannot let this go.
Exactly.
And she has that talent, I would say.
No, she's amazing.
She has
I
that
mean-
talent that she will bring home something from the antique store that I'll look at it and say, what is this?
Well, worse than that, I go, how I go with her often, and so she'll ask me, what do you think about this? And I look, it's like, I'm saying to myself, it looks like a piece of crap. And it's just there's nothing there, right?
Yeah.
And I
But
said,
then she-
it's okay, And
Yeah,
then she
but then
buys
she
it, then she
takes it
brings it
home, she
home, it's
puts
like,
it somewhere, you're like,
yeah, it's like, wow, this looks good there.
looks great.
Yeah, so now I don't say anything anymore, because otherwise it's like, I know I'm gonna be wrong no matter what.
Exactly. Love it, love it. Yeah, so from two fantastic entrepreneurs to two fantastic, I like to call them Latino professionals extraordinaire.
Oh, boy,
If it's
extraordinary. You guys got
Pressure.
big bar jump now.
They're going to meet the bar. Nick and I have chatted with these guys already. So we're really excited to welcome to the show David Villa. He's a realtor with Howard Hanna Roy Wheeler Realty. And Ricardo Cruz Duran, who is the Hispanic segment mortgage supervisor at UVA Community Credit Union. David, Ricardo, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, no, we've been looking forward to this for a while, to be sure.
Bienvenidos.
Muchas gracias,
Muchas gracias.
I knew they could speak Spanish.
Yeah, y gracias por el evento ayer.
De nada.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Gracias por venir.
Yeah, it was a great event. I got to meet a couple good people, Miguel and his wife. Your wife,
Thank you.
our very authentic wives met, and they loved it, which was great. And it was a good event. I enjoyed the drinks and the food. So.
No,
Thank you
absolutely.
so much.
We're really happy to have you
It
both
was
there.
fun. It was fun.
Yeah, Michael Guthrie already giving you guys props. Says good luck, Ricardo Cruz Duran and David Villa.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Michael.
watching, Michael. So tell us, for the audience that doesn't know you guys, a little bit about yourselves and how you came to be what I would call like the home ownership field, because that's really so much of what you do is helping people to get that home, to be in that home. So how did you both become involved in this field of work?
I started. I want to say I started as a little kid liking the homes because we grew up in a place in El Salvador in Central America where we didn't have the facilities that you have here. You didn't have the opportunities that you have here. So we used to live in a laminate, four walls of laminates, and the floor it was just mud basically. It was not like flooring, like wood flooring, like here you have. So it was always a dream of mine and my family's, my mother, my father, my sister, to have our own home. And so my father, he decided to migrate over to the United States, and he left us, my mother, my sister, and I, in El Salvador. At that point, my dad said that he was going to work really hard to get us out of that situation, to give us that American dream that we all were expecting and looking forward to. And 4 years later, he called us and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to bring you guys over." And we're like all super happy and like excited, pumped, because I was looking forward to the schools here. It's a lot of different education that in El Salvador you just don't have that option. And we came and we got here. I studied in Jewett Middle School, and then I went to Albemarle High School, which I'm really proud of. I'm a patriot and always a patriot. Go Patriots! And then I went to PVCC, and then from there I started at UBA Credit Union as a teller. And then UBA Credit Union has given me so many opportunities. It's a really great place to work for. And little by little, I've been climbing the ladder until I landed in mortgage. And then mortgage has been a life changer for me. I've been able to give a home to my family. And the next goal is to buy a house for my parents. That's the goal, yeah. So, yeah.
Love it. David, how about yourself?
It was always a kind of idea that my wife always shot at me, real estate. You can make great money on it. It's a good opportunity. But it was always in the back of my head as something that maybe that's not for me, When me and my wife bought our house, we had a great experience with Bradley Pitt off of Jamie White Realty, right? And I even had a conversation with Jamie White. He said, David, if you like, I'll take you on board. You just need to get your license. And of course, I started taking the class, but life goes on, and you take forever to take the class. And so eventually, I finally got the class done and the test, and I shot a email to Jamie, said, "Jamie, I'm ready to join you guys." And fortunately, they already had found somebody, and I was like, okay. So I continued my search and found Royal Realty, which I knew that were, it was a constant in Charlottesville. They've been here forever. I got on a video call with Vincent and Michael and I believe Brenda for Howard Hanna. They made me feel like home. So I just, jumped the gun and went ahead at it. Took the leap of faith, honestly. And I've enjoyed it so far because, it's really rewarding. It's not like I do see it as a job, but it's more of a commitment, and what we're trying to do is kind of help everybody else in the Latino community, or not even that, just minorities that feel a little bit unrepresented to reach that goal of owning your own home and understanding what homeownership is, and reaching that American dream that we all want. So that's kind of the gist of me. I did a complete change from food service industry to real estate, and I'm really happy with it.
That's fantastic. Inspiring stories.
It is. Yeah. They really are. They really are.
Yeah.
I want to bless you and your father for taking that leap, because that's leaving your family and coming to another country, working hard to then pull them over. I know that's a tough choice to make as a parent. So tell us a little bit about and I don't know if did you have some questions that you want to do in Spanish? Did you want to do some of this in Spanish?
We did do some in Spanish. Do you have a question in Spanish?
No, iba solamente a hablar un poco de español.
Sí, claro que sí, podemos hacerlo. Yo tengo preguntas en español también.
Yo no tengo ninguna pregunta. No, pero sé que quería saber un poco de Virginia Credit Union, porque hay diferencias entre un banco y un credit union, ¿no? Y simplemente un banco hace ganancias, y un credit union es non-profit, ¿no? Entonces, en ciertos instantes, los credit unions pueden dar a la comunidad un poco más de servicio, y quizás para hipotecas, a veces las hipotecas son un poco más baratas, vamos a decir, que los bancos. Así que es una gran oportunidad especialmente para, vamos a decir, hispanos o la gente de minoridad, de poder obtener una hipoteca un poco más quizás barata para poder comprar una casa.
Sí, claro que sí. UBA Credit Union es UBA de la Universidad de Virginia Community Credit Union. Sí, en realidad sí somos sin fines de lucro. Somos como una cooperativa de crédito, y uno de los mayores foques que tiene el Credit Union es de ayudar a las personas de la comunidad local. Entonces, ya sea como pequeños negocios, ya sean personas que aún no tienen crédito o personas que quieran simplemente aprender a cómo se usan las tarjetas de crédito o cómo se usan las tarjetas de débito o cuentas de ahorros. Sí. Todo esto, el Credit Union se siente muy proud porque nosotros ayudamos y estamos tratando de meter más cosas en español para que nuestra gente latina, que es la minoría en este momento, pueda tener acceso en el propio lenguaje para poder entender mejor los productos que nosotros ofrecemos. Entonces, y la cosa es que somos sin fines de lucro, así que las personas que abren cuenta con nosotros son considerados como si fueran dueños de Credit Union. Entonces, por ende, nosotros les damos dividendos, le pagamos dividendos a las personas que tienen cuenta. Entonces, entre más dinero usted deposita o ahorra, más dinero puede llegar a tener como de pago en dividendos de UBA y Credit Union. Eso es una parte bien esencial. Y también la otra parte es que UBA y Credit Union también ofrece mejores intereses. Así que esa es la otra parte que es muy buena.
Sí,
no, that's really important, yeah.
Sí, no. ¿Y cómo ese proceso el proceso de trabajar con un nuevo cliente que quiere comprar una casa por primera vez, muchas veces, porque yo sé que muchos clientes hispanos es su primera vez de entrar en el proceso de comprar una casa? ¿Y cómo trabajan ustedes con esos clientes?
Bueno, usualmente cuando un cliente es nuevo y me contactan, lo primero que quieren saber es tener más información. Y eso es lo más importante. El saber es poder, y sabiendo cuál es el proceso es cómo empezar a rodar la pelota, ¿verdad? Entonces, la plática que tengo con ellos usualmente es de vamos a mirar tus finanzas, vamos a contactar a Ricardo, vamos a hacer una cita. Él va a mirar qué tipo de crédito tienes, qué ingresos tienes, todos estos son afectos a qué tipo de hipoteca puedes obtener. Después platicamos conmigo y yo te explico el proceso de encontrar una casa que nos guste, que esté entre nuestro presupuesto y que esté accesible. Te camino el proceso de hacer una oferta, de negociar, el proceso de hacer la inspección de tu casa, cómo navegar el appraisal y llegarte hasta el cierre. Entonces es muy importante que ellos sepan que yo estaré al lado de ellos por todo el proceso, agarrándole las manos, como dicen,
claro que sí.
Para que sean seguros, se sientan seguros, porque ese es el problema de que muchas personas, muchos latinos quieren hacer ese movimiento, pero no se sienten seguros y no sienten que tienen el apoyo necesario para hacer ese gran movimiento y esa inversión para su futuro, ¿verdad?
Sí, el apoyo y la confianza.
Exactamente.
Una persona que se puede confiar.
Sí, porque eso es una de las primeras cosas que sepan que pueden confiar en mí y claro que legalmente creo que tengo que servirles, ¿verdad? Entonces no tengan problema con eso. Ajá, exactamente.
Claro que sí. Y Ricardo, tenemos muchos your pages blowing up, como dice Xavier. Mary Hernández dice bendiciones. Karen Ávila Corpeño, Dios te bendiga siempre, cuñado.
Gracias.
Diana Sarceño dice
sí.
Es mi esposa.
Su esposa, sí, creo que sí. Y también tenemos una like por Marilyn Corpeño también.
Ella es mi esposa.
Okay. Las dos esposas. Gracias por escuchar y por venir.
It was required them of them.
Sí.
I just want to say, just to translate a little bit what Ricardo said, because I think it's very important, right, with regard to the credit unions, that they are a local, right? So, the credit unions are usually local, and they are non-profit, what's important there is that they really try very hard to help the local community, which is what he was mentioning before. And I think that's important because, when you think about, especially certain, group of people here in this case, in this community, to be able to go to a bank that they know that is not for profit, right? That therefore the services may be very good, right? That they know that, they receive a better rate, that they receive good services and possible, lower rates on their mortgage. is critical, right? Because they're not making the profits, so that profit's going back to, as Ricardo indicated, if you become a member, you are part of the shareholder, right? You're part of that bank. So that's important for people to know that if you're looking for a mortgage, sometimes that might be one place you might take a look at. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And talking about that a little, I mean, because we've talked obviously about Latinos buying their first home. I mean, I know, Ricardo, you just recently went to a convention in DC for this, but what trends are you both seeing in Hispanic homeownership, both nationally and locally?
Sí, yes, thank you. Yeah, sí, estuve en una convención la semana pasada con NAREP, que es la National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. Era de 3 días. Tuve la oportunidad de conocer a muchas personas que tienen bastante impacto en la economía de todos Estados Unidos. También lawmakers, personas que hacen las leyes, las pólizas. Y estuve platicando con, estuvo Elena, quien es la primera afroamericana presidente de Ginnie Mae. Y eso fue muy, muy increíble. Entonces estuve aprendiendo bastante acerca de qué somos los latinos en esta comunidad para Estados Unidos y local. Para Estados Unidos, yo trabajé un dato aquí en papel que según los latinos somos los únicos que hemos incrementado nuestro porcentaje de compra en todo Estados Unidos por 7 años consecutivos. We are the only ethnic group to have increased the percentage of home ownership for the past 7 years straight.
Wow, that's amazing.
So it is unique and it's amazing. Latinos only added 657,000 owner households between 2019 and 2021. So, sí,
that is awesome.
Entonces son bastantes los números y creo que los números a nivel nacional están hablando mucho en este momento. Creo que este es el momento, es el momento ahora para los latinos, para comprar su casa, para meter con ganas, porque no va a haber otro momento mejor. También, Elena estuvo platicando acerca de que el 70% de todas las ventas en Estados Unidos van a venir de los latinos en los siguientes 20 años. De 2020 a 2040, 70% of all new homeowners will be Latino.
Wow, 70%, that's an enormous number.
Will be Latino.
Over the next 10 years.
10 years.
Over the next, from 2020 to 2040.
20 years.
That's 20 years.
So that's why when I say the time is now, the time is now.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. David, are you seeing some of this in our local area as well?
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely. I think all our Hispanic community want to own their own home, right? That's kind of why you come to America. That's why you want the picket fence, you want to have your dog, and you want to give this opportunity to your kids. And I think they are understanding that it is an investment for their future, an investment for their family, and they are looking forward to it. And I think now that they're getting a little more confidence, they're finding more people like Ricardo and myself to give them the hand. I think they're making moves towards that, and I think I've been preaching to Michael Guthrie at Howard Hanna that we have to definitely push towards that, and he's all for it. So I do see a lot of commitment from our Hispanic community to push for that and to want to own their own home.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then I feel like now we're giving them the confidence to do it. Yeah.
Exactly, and it's beautiful to see because so many Latinos. Our story, your story. You come here, you work hard. Oftentimes, you enter first into that entrepreneurship phase. You got your small business to sort of build wealth, but it's so encouraging to now see that next phase of wealth building, which is home ownership.
Exactly.
So that there will be a point at which Latinos are passing down to kids and grandkids just the generational wealth that comes from having a home, which is then passed down through multiple generations. So it's really encouraging to see that there's professionals like you there to say, all right, I will help you through this process, so you're not nervous about the process from a trust standpoint.
Exactly. Y más porque pienso que pueden confiar en nosotros porque nosotros hemos pasado por el mismo camino.
Sí.
Yo también nací en México, yo soy inmigrante y pasé por el proceso y tuve que comprar mi casa, entonces yo sé lo que están sintiendo y puedo ofrecerles esa mano de apoyo y ese entendimiento y crear esa bond, como dice, entre él y yo, entre la persona. Entonces.
Sí, es cierto. Quiero tomar el tiempo para decirle a la gente latina que mírenos, o sea, nosotros que hemos venido de los países inmigrantes y hemos logrado tanto, como en el caso de David. Y en mi caso, yo tengo DACA. Y pues es un gran logro para mí. Yo no tengo residencia, yo no tengo nada que sea permanente, ¿verdad? Sí. Y se me ha hecho muy difícil, se me han puesto muchas puertas cerradas, pero si uno logra, si uno se pone la meta, uno lo puede lograr. Nosotros estamos aquí por eso, porque nosotros lo hemos logrado y queremos que ustedes, los latinos, lo logren también. Sí.
No, eso
es lo que se ve. Yo creo que muchos de los latinos que vienen, especialmente así de Sudamérica, que vienen aquí para un sueño. Y el primer sueño es tener su casa, ¿no? Y trabajan bien duro para poder empezar a poner algo para poder empezar a comprar una casita, ¿no? Y cuando compran esa casita ya se sienten mejor, se sienten parte de la comunidad, se sienten ya que han logrado algo y solamente haber logrado ese poquito lo hacen lograr más, ¿no? Y los hijos ven eso, ¿no?
Y les da un poquito de seguridad.
Eso mismo.
Porque lo que miro es de que a veces nos sentimos de que no soy ni de aquí ni de allá, ¿verdad? Entonces logrando algo así como comprar un hogar y tener una base donde puedes llegar todos los días y ser que es tuyo, te da un poco de seguridad en tu vida y seguridad para tus hijos. Entonces eso pienso que es muy importante.
Sí, en ese topic, también en la convención, Elena McCargo dijo que Ginnie Mae tuvo un survey en todo Estados Unidos en donde los latinos participaron, los anglos participaron, y traje ese dato también porque es muy curioso. Y dice que in the survey they conducted, and they saw that 89% of homeowners say that owning a home gives them a lot more security. To your point, David, and they can save money easier. And if we take it over to our Latinos say that 28% of Latinos are wealthier when they own a home. Yeah. So it's the starting point for generational wealth, like you were saying.
Exactly. You just did more. So Mary Hernandez says, God bless your work always. Johnny Ornelas says hello. And you have a really encouraging comment from Kevin Hayden saying, people willing to leave their families, move to another country, work hard as hell to bring their families here is exactly what this country needs. I cannot imagine the fear these guys felt. Their determination was the enemy of that fear. This country now owns their strength, and there is not a better national asset.
Yeah, thank you
so much. Yeah,
that's so true.
That's
that
great.
is so true.
So true.
Yeah, and I feel like at some point I also felt that I was neither there nor here, right? But I've looked back at my life now, and I've realized how much this country has given to me. An education, a home, a great wife, great kids, and I'm so proud of that. And I definitely love this country. I do love my country as well, of course, but I definitely hold this country dear and near to my heart. So it's great to hear somebody encouraging like that.
Absolutely.
Those are great stories. I mean, and it's always funny because my parents came here and they were already in their 40s, right?
Yeah.
They had to escape Cuba. And the interesting thing is when you ask them, what country they love, America comes first. I mean, literally number one, because it gave them everything that, like you talked about, right? The security that they gave them, right? They still love, obviously my father, loves Spain, my mother loved Cuba, etc. They still feel like, yes, my heritage is, Cuban, Spanish, whatever. But as far as the love of a country, it's incredible that, there's like America first, and sometimes that's what happens. You're right. You leave a country and you feel bad because that's where you were born, but then you come to a place that gives you the opportunities to work hard and own something that's yours, and feel like somebody's not just going to come and say, "I'm going to take that away from you." Yeah. That feels very good, right?
I agree.
And that's actually a point that I think our Hispanic culture is seeing and that they fear and why they don't like the banks, right? Because they feel like somebody's going to come and take everything away. And that's kind of one of the first conversations that we have is like, listen, we have to take advantage of what they have and what they're offering you and use it to your benefit, you know. No, ahorita nadie va a venir a quitártelo, va a ser nuestro, pero tenemos que utilizarlo para nuestro beneficio. Y eso es un poquito de lo que están entendiendo ya de
sin duda, sin duda.
Take advantage of what we have.
We have the same challenges. Muchas veces viene gente a nuestra oficina para poder invertir para su retiro, ¿no? Y los veo que dicen, y preguntan, ¿y dónde está el dinero? ¿Y yo puedo ver el dinero? ¿Y quién es que tiene dinero? ¿Dónde va a estar? Y hay que explicarles todo, ¿no? Bien, sabiendo que el dinero es tuyo, está en una cuenta personal tuya, ¿no?
Cierto.
Pero, y yo sé de dónde vienen. Vienen de un lugar donde el gobierno dice, no, ese dinero ahora es mío, ¿no? Entonces, pues no tienen fe a nadie. Y entonces hay que empezar a crecer esa fe un poquito.
Claro.
No, claro que sí. Mary Hernandez dice, we are all proud to have fighters like you in our family. And Salvador Imanol Dauna says, let's do Ricardo.
Salvador,
many fans. So one thing I definitely wanted to ask, because obviously last week we did see the Federal Reserve, raise interest rates for the first time. And so I'm curious, in this environment of what was potential rising rates and is now, obviously rates went up slightly, how are each of you sort of working with people to prepare them for, that kind of environment? Because obviously up till now, basically it's been like, they're going down. And now we see a slight uptick. How do each of you sort of work with people to manage expectations, either on the realtor side and on the mortgage side for what may be a new environment?
We're seeing this, we're following this very closely, and we see that the interest rates are still, very good compared to other years.
Absolutely.
But we feel that the rates are still going to keep going up. So we've introduced a rate lock and shop program, where you can lock your interest rate when you become qualified, turn in your documents, and then you have 120 days to shop for your home with the interest rate secured. So you don't have to worry about the rate going up because you're secured with the rate at the time you apply. So that is a unique program that we have now. And the other unique thing is that there's no fee associated with it. So you can lock your rate, secure for 120 days, and without a fee. And the other nice thing about it is that if the rates do end up going down, in the event that they go down, we guarantee that you can get it as long as it goes down by more than 1/8.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing to help our families locally so that they can own a home and they can feel secure about the rate.
And just one quick question before Dan, you answer on your side. When you say 120 days, does that mean that house has to close by 120 days, or you just have to find one?
So this means that the home would have to close within 120 days. Okay. However, if we come to that point, then we can extend the rate. So we'll have options, other options we can talk. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, which is actually not crazy in this market to close within 180 days with how quickly
things happen.
It's turning over. How about you, David?
I think it's a little bit of encouraging my buyers to make the move, right? I feel like there's a lot of information out there right now that people are saying the houses are so expensive right now, like it's not a good time to buy. But I kind of, my understanding is, in the long term, you're going to save a lot of money by taking advantage of these low interest rates than it is if you are to wait 2 years to buy a house, right? You're only going to pay maybe a little more of a premium for your house, but in the long term, or those 30-year loan, if you take advantage of this smaller interest rates, lower interest rates, it's going to save you tons of money, Plus, we all know what renting in Charlottesville is, rental property is horrible. And at the end of the day, nothing comes back to you when you leave that apartment, right? So just take advantage of it. Do it now. Don't be afraid because that's an investment for your future. And like I said, Ricardo is very knowledgeable. If you have any questions, we'll go to him. But taking advantage of those lower interest rates before they get a little higher is a way better move than waiting a year for competition to go down a little.
Especially because, higher home prices is reflected, like you said, in higher rental rates. So if you're renting, you're, in some ways, this is particularly if you're not locked in for multiple years, if you're renting, you're already subject in many ways to increasing home prices.
Of course.
So the question is, do I want to be subject to those increasing home prices without building equity, or do I want to be subject to those increasing home prices,
Yeah.
but now at least I'm participating in the upside because I have some kind of equity in it. So it's just so, it's important to just think about those things and
Yes.
talk with someone who actually knows
Yeah.
it and can hold your hand and explain it.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, what the interest rate on renting an apartment is 100%, right? So what is 4% to 100%, right? So just let's think about that and just be knowledgeable. Kind of don't be fearful. If you have questions, chat up with myself, Ricardo, and we'll kind of get you a day-by-day thing because we do it every day. We're seeing every day, and what we're telling you is honest truth.
Yeah.
And I just want to
Yes.
say, that was a very good point that David made, because when you think about it, if you increase the price of a house, right, at a lower interest rate, that price is spread out over 30 years, right? Because most of the time you're getting a 30-year mortgage. That's spread over 30 years. So you're paying for that increase over 30 years, right? And we all know that the value of the dollar in 30 years is going to be a lot less than it is today. So you're paying for something that you bought today, 30 years from now, at a price that's going to be dirt cheap in 30 years versus today, right? While interest rates, as if they go up, right, those impact your whole cash flow throughout time. So that's a very good point. I mean, if you want to buy a house, it might be a little expensive today, a little more expensive, but it's probably better idea to buy it, pay a little extra, because over the time you're paying less.
And
Yes.
I think that's also with the upfront cost is definitely a little higher, right? You got your closing costs and you got your down payment and all that. But a little bit of thing that a lot of people don't know is that, or Hispanics don't know, is that they believe that you need 20% down. It's like,
correct.
I'm saving up because I still don't have 20% down. And once I tell them, there's options. You don't need to 20% down. You can do 3, 3.5, 5, whatever you like. And not like their eyes brighten. I was like, what? It's kind of, that's what I said before. Knowledge is power. Once you make that first step of contacting me or Ricardo, we'll give you guys some kind of insight and, kind of open up your eyes and say, well, this might be the move for it, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there, like to David points, there is 100% financing available if you buy in rural areas, as well as 3% down payment if you're a first-time home buyer. Even if you're a second-time home buyer, you can get as low as 5% down payment. So there's multiple options out there for sure.
Sure. I like to say, especially, I like to say it in español, especially, no tener miedo.
Yes.
Esa es la clave.
Yeah.
No tener miedo, right, y tener confianza y información. Like you said, the información es el rey.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't translate exactly in
Yo
Spanish,
creo que
but
la
like
palabra
it's-
confianza...
Información es poder.
Información es poder. Información es poder.
Y yo creo que la palabra confianza es más importante. Miedo no tienen porque si han venido de cualquier lugar a este país sin nada,
pues sí.
no tienen miedo.
Sí.
Pero la confianza en las instituciones es lo que ellos tienen que empezar a tener un poquito.
Claro, sí, cierto.
Exactamente.
No, ha sido un gran placer hablar con ustedes
Muchas
dos.
gracias. Sin duda.
Siempre tengo que preguntar dónde se puede ponerse en contacto con ustedes.
Pues para mí, me pueden mandar un mensaje en mi Facebook page, David Villa. Tengo una business page y también la personal. En cualquiera de los dos manda un mensaje y también me pueden dar un correo electrónico a davidvilla@howardhanna.com. Mi teléfono es, si no se lo ponen por ahí.
Sí, podemos.
540-298-9982.
Me pasa igual, amigo.
Me lo
traducir.
Sí, me lo sé. Sí, en español, es en inglés.
Sí, exactamente.
A veces mi cerebro se cruza.
Sí, en mi caso les invito a que nos visiten. Vamos a tener un webinario de educación de cómo comprar su casa y también para responder sus preguntas este sábado, marzo 26. Y pueden entrar gratis, sin ningún costo, en ubacreditunion.org/webinars o en inglés ubacreditunion.org/webinars para registrarse, to register. As well as if you need to reach any of our loan officers at UBA Credit Union, including myself, you can just reach us at 434-964-2001. Nos pueden marcar a nosotros si quieren hablar conmigo o con cualquier otro oficial de préstamos hipotecario al 434-964-2001 y también visítenos en ubacreditunion.org.
Perfecto, perfecto. Y finalmente Johnny Ornelas dice, proud of David Villa, known you for years. Stay strong, brother.
Yeah.
Gracias, Johnny.
Johnny is, I guess, kind of like my boss because I do a little part-time at El Mariachi.
El Mariachi.
Oh, Mariachi.
Oh, we love.
So Steven and Johnny, I see Steven all the time. You know, I bartend there part-time, so it's my side gig. And I don't use it as like a side gig. I use it as a networking gig. and I see Steven, it's like, Steven, if you see me chatting on the bar, please don't be mad at me. You know, I'm networking. so it's good.
So with the drink, there's always a card? Is that it?
Yeah, right? So interesting enough, my marketing manager, which is Vincent, he did a little thing, and he's gonna put it on my phone. It's like a dot thing, right? So when I'm like, and I told him I was like, great when I'm in the bar because I can just tap somebody's phone and they can shoot them straight to my link and to my website. And I was like, Vincent, I need you to get on this. I need it because sometimes I'm just making drinks and stuff, and I don't have a card, and I gotta tap them on the phone. So that's great.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Oh, I love it.
So,
Yo también quiero decir algo.
Sí, claro que sí.
Ya que estoy aquí en esta oportunidad, dar gracias a mis padres por todo lo que me han dado y también a mi esposa porque ella ha sido un gran soporte para este nuevo rol que estamos haciendo. Así que gracias, amor, te amo.
Gracias, baby.
No, sí, la familia latina es un gran tesoro. Es un gran tesoro en términos de apoyo para ser empresarios, para ser profesionales. Es increíble. Intimacy, intimidad que tienen las familias latinas es tan importante para nuestros latinos que quieren ser empresarios o profesionales aquí en los Estados Unidos o en cualquier lugar.
And just the support that they give you, right?
Yeah.
I definitely felt a lot of support. Like when I made the switch, this major switch, because I was working at Centera Martha Jefferson. And through COVID and all that, I felt the stress, so I decided to just make that leap of faith, and just to know that my wife was, fully committed, my mom was fully committed, even my mother-in-law fully committed, to feel that support and back, and really give me the confidence to just make that leap of faith, and so far it's paying off,
Absolutely.
Great.
Getting that mother-in-law fully committed is very important.
What's that?
Getting the mother-in-law fully committed is very important.
Exactly.
That's her baby.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And I think she knows I look for the best for them. So.
I know.
Speaking from experience there.
No, my mother-in-law, forget it.
Nonna.
I was, Nonna
loves
forget
you.
Yeah, I was like way up here. I mean,
Sometimes a different Nonna, like a little higher than her actual daughter.
Oh my goodness.
I was blessed.
That's good.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, it's been such
Thank
a pleasure.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias por todo.
Lo mismo. Sí, gracias.
For the consejo and just for the inspiration. I think it's been a great inspiration to our Latino community to know just what you can achieve with the hard work that you guys have put in.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us.
Gracias.
It's great.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you back.
Yeah, you
Absolutely.
gotta have it. Right?
Thanks for coming on.
Tell us how that 70% went to 75% of Latinos buying homes.
Yeah, exactly. It'll keep every time you come
That's
on,
amazing,
it'll be higher.
and it's funny that now that I said that, I remember back, and this is back in the 80s, right? Because remember, I used, I used to buy, I still buy bonds, but we bought bonds for institutions, and one of the bonds we buy is mortgage-backed securities. And one of the studies we did was, the mortgage-backed securities by Hispanic buyers, right? And what we realized that they were trading a lot cheaper because they were lower quality, right? Because a lot of these people didn't have, the rating was lower because they, some were just, like I said, the down payment might have been just 5% or 2% or 0%. However, you look at the history of delinquencies in those mortgages. Basically, the Hispanic had the best, lowest delinquencies of anybody of all other mortgages. Yeah. Wow. So basically, you're buying something dirt cheap, price-wise, right? With the understanding that the one thing that the Hispanic does not want to do is not pay their bill, in particular for their home and then their car, because that's their livelihood. I mean, they came here to buy a house. I'm paying off that mortgage, even if I have to find money underneath the house, find that penny. I don't care how I do it. So it was amazing. So really, from that sense, giving a mortgage to a Latino is a slam dunk because they're going to pay it.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It was an interesting study, but
we're hardworking. It's a hardworking community in many more ways than one. It's to me, we keep our word. We work hard.
Yeah.
Trust is so important for us. So it's just all those qualities, I think, are what have made Latinos so successful in the United States. Because I think those are all qualities that lead to success in homeownership, in life, in business, in so many areas.
Absolutely.
And Latinos, we have them both by virtue of, I think, just our culture, but also by virtue of what our parents, our grandparents went through to get here, and to what they had to experience to sort of, I mean, I say this as second generation, right? But what you had to experience, what abuelito and abuelita went through, that they sort of instill in you that, the importance of that. You see it through the story of of being an immigrant to the United States.
Yeah.
We don't like to owe anybody money.
Yes, that's for sure.
And one of the questions everybody asks me is like, David, once I get this house, can I pay it off early? Is that okay? Can I, when I get money, can I just say, yeah, go ahead, just call them up and say, I'm making a payment on principal, and every time try to pay it off as early as possible, because they don't like owning
debt. They don't have
they don't like being
Exactly.
in debt. They don't like being in debt, so it's interesting.
No, which is not a bad, it's a good quality to have.
Exactly, yeah.
This has been a fantastic show.
It's been a great show. Great show.
Love it. Especially on the heels of last night, the Today Mañana Destavet just rejuvenated.
Yeah.
In terms of so excited for just what's ahead for Today Mañana and all the fantastic Latino entrepreneurs that we have, Latino professionals and just other small businesses in our community that just continue to inspire.
And they really are. Yeah. No, this has been, like I said, I thank Jerry for pushing us into this, and like I said, that first show, we were like, why in heaven's sakes are we doing this? But it's been a blessing. It's been a great ride. I'm enjoying every single Thursday.
Same here.
Every Thursday morning. I missed the café con leche we don't have here. I know you keep talking café con
I know
leche.
one day
You never bring me a café con leche.
I should bring you a café con leche one day, especially since I keep suggesting it.
Absolutely, yeah. So,
but it's been fun. It's been fun. On top of
has
all the shout-outs, Robert Boland, thanks for watching the show today. Juliana Perez Vasquez, Cristina Orellana, Miguel Torredin, thanks for watching today. Virgil Velasco, thanks for watching the show today. So just definitely
good viewers,
our audience, we really appreciate just the questions, the thoughts, the comments. Kevin Higgins, thanks for the encouragement. It means a lot.
Great words by Kevin.
Great words. So just really appreciate our audience so much. Looking forward already to next week. Just some more great entrepreneurs heading our way. We're going to have Allison Whittam with Siller Pollinator Company, which is beekeeping.
Oh, wow, really?
Beekeeping company.
Is she going to bring some bees around?
Oh, no, hopefully, yeah. That's the one where I don't need a free sample of bees.
Free sample of a bee?
Of honey.
Honey,
yes.
okay.
I don't know if they made honey. We'll ask her when she comes on what that looks like, beekeeping. But I don't need any bees. To be actually, as a sample. And then as well as David, the head brewer, and Jane from Pro Renata.
Oh,
Brewery,
okay.
which I love Pro Renata. Beautiful spot out there in Crozet. So we're really excited. Thanks to Amanda Delgado, Justin Tooley for watching today. Our friends at the gym. CVille, watching the show today. Really appreciate. Yep. It is.
I got to get out there.
Remember, body, mind, and spirit.
That's right.
Body,
and that's
mind,
so
and spirit, as Justin told us. I know they're going to be coming on the show again in a few weeks, so we're looking forward to that as well. Just really appreciate partnering with the Gym CVille, of course, with Aqua CVille Hand Car Wash, with Miguel at Sirius Craddock Insurance, GBS Financial Services, Vitae Spirits, and Castle Hill Cider. All our good friends, always here with For Adelante, premier Latino networking group here in Charlottesville, Virginia. Love to be presented by Emergent Financial Services here on the I Love CVille set. Judah, thanks. I know when we've got the 4 guests,
it's
2
tough.
and 2, it's a challenge for Judah, but he always rises to the challenge.
Always.
As we say, makes us all look good, keeps the show running smoothly. Thanks to Jerry for just giving, like you said, giving
the
us
opportunity.
the encouragement and the opportunity to just be here and do something that now just brings so much joy to us. So just really appreciate you, our audience, for your great questions and comments this week. Please be sure to send us any entrepreneurs, any professionals you want us to talk to, that you want to welcome on the show. Send us our way. Send it our way, because we're always happy to have them on and do these interviews.
Definitely.
And just talk with them and learn more about what our entrepreneurs and our professionals are doing here in Charlottesville. So just always appreciate you all. We look forward to seeing you next week. I look forward to being here with you next week.
Thank you.
But until that time, hasta mañana.